So check it out. We're in January right now, January 2023, and we know that 2022 was it started off real high, and then all kinds of craziness took place, and it ended kind of like a thump with really not clear news going forward. So today we're going to talk about reviewing the markets of 2022. I'm with my partner, Eddie Garvin.
What's up, Rob? How you doing,
man?
I'm good, man.
And, when we talk about the markets of 2022, what is your biggest takeaway? Like, what's the first thing that stands out for you?
I think one of the things that stands out is the fact that this was the first time in a long time that people actually began to panic around their retirement plans. If we look back to 2008 and kind of that strong run that we've had after 2008, this was the first real pushback of pullback of double-digit numbers, S&P 500, people putting money into their retirement plans and having them be a lower account balance.
Yeah, I think when I look at 2022, the first thing I think of is pain.
Yeah.
Emotional pain. And for us, we've built such a tremendous business model, serving and helping. A lot of our clients are high stepping right now. I talk about that all the time.
Yes.
But I see society as a whole, they're going through a lot of pain, but I've noticed that there's a lot more listening now because of that pain. Sometimes we have to go through pain in order to listen. I don't hear people talking about FTX anymore. I don't hear people talking about Bitcoin as much. Matter of fact, you don't even see them bragging about it. They're off doing their own thing. Y'all know who you are. And I think that at the end of the day, the Bitcoin saga, the Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, whatever you want to call it, mayhem, really became a disruptive force for people because at the end of the day, unfortunately, we live in a society that has a get-rich-quick scheme mindset.
Yes.
And they want everything yesterday. And I was with somebody I was in a car ride yesterday, and I realized pretty quick I was the student and I was not the teacher. And what was interesting is, this person, because I had said to him, I don't keep up with the Joneses, as if I was like saying something that was amazing. And this guy said, yeah, I don't even know who the Joneses are. It was the greatest response ever. And what does that mean? It means that when you stroll to a beat of your own drum and you have a game plan and a strategy and a mindset and you put yourself in a position to prosper, good things are going to happen, right? So I think the biggest takeaway for me is, to your point, the parallel for me of not only 2008, but also really more like March of 2000, which for me was the end of the internet stock run. At that point, 1999 into 2000, I was young in the business. I was making good money just because internet stocks were running. And then all of a sudden, one day, they just stopped. It just ended. It was Microsoft got sued by the U.S. government. And by the way, they were peaking. And it's funny how things work. This was when Apple began to make their second run. This was when you started seeing all the products that started coming out that really changed, the trajectory and the path for Apple. So the takeaway for me was I could probably relate with 20, 25, 30-year-olds right now, even though I'm the age I'm at, because of whatever turmoil they recently went through when it comes to these Bitcoins.
Right.
That's what happened to me back in 2000,
yeah.
1999, 1998. Yeah. So there is a parallel.
Yeah, and you go back to some of the videos we did on this channel, a year, 2 years ago.
Not to say that we called it.
We were talking about that. We were talking about how crypto was parallel to the internet stocks.
But we didn't know crypto was going to shit the bed. What we knew is if you don't have proper planning, diversifying within and amongst asset classes, that you could expose yourself to if it did shit the bed. We didn't even know about Ben Friedman. Right. But stay on that path.
Yeah. So I think, it wasn't that we knew what was going to happen, but like history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes, right? So the idea is you were getting tips from your barber on what internet stocks to buy, right? That was the same thing going on. And I remember hearing about oh, you buy this coin and you have to do this pancake swap and this thing and that thing and all this to get your money in.
What's a pancake swap?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But,
is that a real thing? Or
it was.
They call it a pancake?
That's what they called it.
Thank God I don't even know what that is because I didn't buy any.
Somebody out there knows what it is. I don't.
Yeah.
But the idea was it was so convoluted to get your money in. Imagine trying to get your money out, which I think most people weren't able to.
That's why I was confused at why people were doing it.
Yeah. And so... But that was that get rich quick mentality. That was the internet stocks when people were just going into to that internet stock because anything that was .com all of a sudden had a value.
That's right. And it moved quick.
And it did. And both did. And so this cryptocurrency has come crashing down.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to the technology. I think there's a lot still to be worked out because, to your point,
I'm sure it'll work.
all
If
of
you do
the
it over
things
the
that
long term.
came out of the dot-com bubble, like Amazon is
Yep.
still a thing, and Fang and Netflix and all that, which weren't even around back then.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot that's probably somebody is analyzing and looking at right now and saying, hey, this is where we're headed.
This will buy you a beach house.
Yeah.
So when we talk about interest rates during 2022 going from 2% to 7%, the 30-year mortgage cash flow monthly payment is probably a difference of, like on a $500,000 loan, probably a $1,500 swing against you. We know gas went up, food went up. For the folks that live 9 to 5 that have a budget, no overtime, I feel for those folks because in January, real estate wasn't going down. We really didn't know much about the war in Ukraine, and gas didn't go up yet.
Right.
And 12 months later, it's a different story.
Yeah.
And for those folks, I think they're in trouble right now because mentally, I'm not seeing them getting out of it.
Right.
I think you have to invest in the real estate between your ears first and create a money mindset before the money could show up.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, if you get overpaid and don't deserve it in your own thinking, you will do things to sabotage it.
Right.
And Milet talks about that
Yeah.
based on his own experience, and he gives good examples of what that looks like. So folks that are out there right now that, maybe it's time to really kind of get a game plan, find a new 5, find the top 5 that can help you elevate and really put you on a different path and help you put money back into your pocket where it belongs. One less dinner out, do some Uber, maybe get a side hustle at night, and you'll be amazed that whenever there's disruption, leaders show up and things are on sale and things are on a discount. What are your thoughts on everything with interest rates and real estate?
I think interest rates and inflation have been the biggest killers to the economy right now, right? Like you talked about, the 9 to 5 people that lived, paycheck to paycheck, maybe they were able to save a little bit, right, during times, especially throughout the pandemic. They weren't going out, they weren't doing all that stuff. Savings was jumping up. Now savings has come way down.
Yep.
Now their paycheck is stretched so thin that they're having to buy food on credit cards, gas on credit cards, all these things where they're overextended. So that's a real challenge for people. And then the idea of home ownership is for the middle class, that's the way to wealth creation for most of the middle class. The dream was you buy a house and that house can create generational wealth. I think about, when my parents bought their first home in 1978, they bought it for about $50,000. In 2005, they sold that same home for over $500,000.
Yeah.
Now they had done some things in between there that they didn't net, that kind of money, but look at that kind of growth. They didn't save $500,000 in the bank. They didn't have any other money except that asset. And interest rates now are moving prices for a lot of people, moving homes for a lot of people out of range.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure where that goes right now.
Yeah, so it's a good point. I think when I look at the takeaways, I also want to go on the flip side. Guys, gals like us, our relationship capital and partnerships exploded because we were proven to be able to do what we could do on our side, which is execute.
Yes.
And because of that, some other big fish came along the way to want to work with us. And I think for the folks that are out there, as much as the middle class and maybe the folks that have been dependent on, a 9 to 5 or a certain type of money that comes in on a monthly basis, the entrepreneurs out there are crushing it. The entrepreneurs are buying things on discount right now. So there's always like a dichotomy of what's going on. Certain people win, certain people don't win. Yeah. I didn't say lose. And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to understanding, if inflation is impacting your business because of supply chain. We have clients that their income went down significantly because they were affected by that. At the end of the day, it's really important that you put your money in a position to take advantage of those things that you can't control and really kind of get to that spot sooner than later, because if you stay stuck in it, you could really start spiraling down. And by the way, if you have any questions, ask below. If you have any comments, put some comments below. If any videos you want us to do, we'd love to do them. In the meantime, if you want to talk to anybody here at Epic, go ahead and click that link. We'd love to sit down, no obligation, share some ideas and strategies and answer any questions. So I think that between real estate, inflation, and pain, of course, which is opening the listening, but also folks are crushing it.
Yeah.
Folks are doing well buying businesses.
Yep.
Or at least, debt for equity or consult for equity. What are your thoughts on that side?
So I think that YouTube University has created a whole branch of entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurship is not something taught in school.
Nope.
But I think people are realizing that the system that they have been taught is broken and not working for them. So they're going on and they're researching. They're trying to find channels like this, other channels that are out there to talk to your point about debt for equity or consult for equity. Like that's a whole new ballgame, right? If you have a certain skill set that you can bring to the table and somebody else, it's like an ecosystem merger, right? You bring your skill set to the table, somebody else brings theirs. And now all of a sudden you're taking their business, skyrocketing it. And you're getting a piece of the action for something you're inherently good at. Those are the people that are winning. Those are the people that are crushing it.
Yeah, and I think that for the next 2 years, we're not here to predict markets at all, but I know that down in DC there could be a little bit of gridlock, which means maybe the market sees certainty, maybe we're almost done with the rate hikes, maybe one more. But really, what does it look like? How you saving your money? Where you putting it? Are you overfunding certain products to leverage off of them? Are your top 5 crushing it in momentum right now? Is all your planners that work with you on the same page for the benefit of your thinking? These are real questions that we like to ask. And if you want to close it up on that, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I think the important thing for all of it is as you step into this new year, take a real look at where you're at today. What are the things that are going on in your life? Where do you need to improve? And ask yourself those deep questions before you just jump into an investment because somebody told you to invest in it. What kind of questions are you asking about it? Or are you just getting in because you're afraid that if you don't, you're going to miss out? And those people that have the fear of missing out were the ones that ended up getting impacted the hardest, I think.
FOMO, and then you have pain, pleasure, principle. Amazing stuff. And these things are real. They're psychological. And listen, wherever you are right now, good, bad, or indifferent, it's always good because if you learn from it, but seriously, good, bad, or indifferent, it's really a result of your thinking. It's not the external world. It's everything. Always say to yourself, what is your part in this? If your money's tight, what is your part in it? If you made bad investment decisions because they didn't work out, what was your part? When you made those investments, what were you thinking at that time? Was there some kind of internal thing saying, I don't know if I should do this? Really evaluate that and write it out and listen to it, because I think you could learn a lot from that. And then go find a mentor. Or if you can't afford it, you could always watch something on YouTube all the time that's dropping some real information that could help you out. 100%. Anyway, thank you for always checking us out. Continue to follow. And once again, if you want to sit down with one of the team members here at Epic, go ahead and click the link below. We'd love to sit down, and there's no obligation. Just answer any questions that you have. Thanks for checking us out.